Give us a quick crash course on Mad River. Like what are they all about?
We've been established since 2011, and since then we've been making everything from scratch ourselves, start to finish, starting with fermentation and ending with the bottles you see in front of you.
Great. So you brought 4 rums.
I brought 4 rums with me today.
Rum is obviously very important to tiki, but Vermont is really, hasn't really caught on to the rum scene.
Sure,
yet.
totally. Yep.
It's like, you get your gin, you get your whiskeys, but rum is sort of an up and coming thing, but it's so important to tiki that we really appreciate the way you guys do rum. So yeah, take us through the different rums.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everything that we make, we start with Demerara sugar, which is a little unusual. Usually you would see molasses typically in most rums as kind of your starting sugar. Yeah. We start with Demerara. We think it kind of gives us a cleaner fermentation, a cleaner distillation, and ultimately a more flavorful finished product. So that starts with our rum 44. This is just solid, straightforward white rum, super versatile, especially in tiki. I feel like it's just kind of something that you can have on your back bar. And it's kind of the mother rum. It's really what kind of starts out everything that we do is we start by making this rum 44 from the Demerara, and then we basically have different ways that we finish that rum. So our first run rum, that's the first product we ever put out. You're talking about rum in Vermont and how it's not like a huge Vermont spirit, but really with our barrel-aged rums, we're kind of going for kind of like a New England style of rum that's a little less tropical and a little leans into the char on the barrel, kind of brings in a little bit of like a whiskey influence into our rums, which I think makes them kind of fun to play around with and a little bit unique. If you're like a whiskey person and you kind of want to dip a toe into Rum Town, I think it's a really nice one to start with because there's a lot to kind of grab onto that's familiar from the whiskey world. And then yeah, the vanilla rum is a really fun one too. I like to make the distinction that this is infused, not flavored. It really is just our rum 44, and then we do a maceration with vanilla beans, with real vanilla beans. So they just kind of get cut into thirds. They get put in a big silk bag, and we just let it soak. It's not going to give you that like vanilla extract, super intense vanilla flavor. It's really a lot more gentle and a lot more natural tasting, which I think is nice. Cool. And then I've got the maple cask here. This is my personal favorite spirit that we make. We give the barrel to a maple syrup producer who ages maple syrup in it, and then when he's done, he gives the barrel back, and the first run rum goes back into the barrel, and we just kind of give it a secondary aging in the same barrel, but after it's held maple. Kind of like how this we soak with the vanilla beans, so it's not just like a vanilla extract bomb. This we really don't want it to taste like we made rum and just dumped a bunch of maple into it. There are like creative ways to kind of impart those flavors. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play around with. I know we're talking tiki, but it makes a great whiskey cocktail, but it's also really fun to take into tiki territory.
What can we do to get Vermonters more into the rum spirit and get them more on board with trying something like this?
I mean, tiki I think is a great way. There's not a better way to drink rum than in a tiki drink. So I just think right there as a starter, getting into playing around with them and seeing what you can do and seeing what flavors you can incorporate into them.